send a recording to everyone after, along with some notes about what we talked about today. And if you guys have any questions, I also put in the intro email that you guys received for this, a way to connect with John and Sherry on LinkedIn if you are not already. I'll make sure to put that in the follow-up email as well. We also have a few other things we'll include. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And I will let John and Sherry take it away.
Thank you so much. Everybody, Jill is awesome. Jump in there with questions if you need to. And one thing that we are definitely going to do when this is done in that follow-up email everyone's going to get, I'm going to have a LinkedIn post that I'm going to post and we'll send a link to, just for the purpose of everybody on here starting off that networking journey, coming together and meeting each other. One of the things that it can be so easy to miss because it's right in front of our faces is everyone on this call wants to network. Everyone on this call, you might be in different industries, you might be in different career progressions, but these are great conversations to start. It's a great way to get some early momentum because you'll have other people in your network that are also trying to do the right things. So I'm definitely going to send that post out. Absolutely engage. Attending a webinar on networking is pretty useless if you don't go out there and network after. So it's not just something to observe, get in there and really do it.
And I will also, what I'll do is I didn't create my own post because I'm a slacker, and I will just share John's post.
And I tagged you. I'll tag you in mine. So we're
You
there
did?
together.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So, and for those of you who don't know us, I know we have a lot of familiar faces. We have some new people. So I'm going to introduce us, talk a little bit about Amalavita. If you're on this call, you probably know a little bit about Amalavita, but we're the world's greatest coaching company. And we are here to help you love your life in all aspects. We don't believe I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe you should be happy all the time. I don't believe that work is a game of balancing your unhappiness versus the happy time outside of it. All of these things come together, whether it's a health goal, a career goal, a life goal. We want you to be happy, and the coaching that we provide is aimed at doing that. So I'm the director of career services. As you know, Jill mentioned, she's a health coach. I'm a career specialist. Shari's a career specialist. We have people across all metrics, but we're here specifically to talk about this narrow topic. But I just wanted to let everyone know that no matter what you're aiming for, come have a conversation with us. There's somebody on our team that can help. So that's all. Most of you probably know me by now. You have plenty of time to get to know me when you network with me on LinkedIn. So we'll jump right into the topic, Shari, as well. Shari, do you want to lead us off with our agenda?
Sure. I skipped through a bunch of those slides because as I was scamming through, I saw lots of names we know. We have a lot of names that we know. And for those of you who don't, John introduced us both. I'm Shari. I know I look different than that picture because that was pre-COVID hair. And this is post or in progress COVID hair. So you have to go with what we got. All right, so this is what we're gonna go over today. Why LinkedIn, the essentials that you need to know, how to make connections, how to engage, and then Q&A. Jill said it earlier, John and I both do not mind being interrupted. Jill monitor the chat, so will John. I don't see the chat because I'm the one handling the slides. I mean, I could pull it up, but then there's like 17 things on the screen and I can't see other things. So if you have a question throughout, just put it in the chat and it's fine. We don't mind stopping because what we have planned out, if you have a question that isn't in there, we have absolutely no problem stopping and answering it so that you can get all the good information. So the first question is, and you can put answers in the chat, is, are you using LinkedIn for your job search? And if so, how? We guess most of you are using it in the way that majority of people use it, which is the job search function. We're going to talk about some other ways. Do we have some answers, John?
I see some yeses. And I think, let me ask you, for just most people, and you could give me a yes in the chat for this, is the primary thing you're using LinkedIn for as a job board, searching? Yep, I say yes, using the job board. Some yes, some no's. It's interesting, we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, I see a lot of yeses. We're using it as a job board.
As a job board.
It's okay, as a job board.
So that's a good start, but it's actually not maximizing your LinkedIn so that you can really utilize the potential that LinkedIn has for you. Remember this, we'll both say it 1,000 times today. LinkedIn is still a social media. we tend to forget that. It still is social media. It is probably one of the most powerful tools that you have that can help you in your job search to land whatever that next role is. I don't know if you could see, I'm sure you can see it because it's on my screen. This key stat that I'm underlining with my, I don't know, can you see my browser?
You see your little, yeah,
My little back
the bouncing blue ball for singing along.
See this number? 90% plus. That's plus. That's more than 90% of recruiters and hiring managers using LinkedIn. Everyone goes to LinkedIn first. So when Facebook first came out and you wanted to know anything about someone, like you quickly Googled them or Facebook stalked them, same thing's happening professionally. Everybody's going to your LinkedIn to check. So you have ways that you can let them know that you're looking for a job on your profile, both publicly, confidentially, and we'll show you how. And also, this is the key for this. Your personal brand matters. What is a personal brand?
I have never, and I've been a hiring manager a long time. I still do the hiring at Amalevita. I've never hired somebody I didn't scout on LinkedIn. If I met them on LinkedIn first, great. Even if I didn't, I always go check. I mean, I'm always looking into them. And people, if you don't think that you can set yourself apart on LinkedIn, you're crazy. I mean, there's a ton you can do there.
And why do you go there? What's the point that you go to LinkedIn first? Why are you stalking our people, man?
Let me give that hiring manager background. So you send me your resume, you send me a cover letter. There's a rule in recruiting, which is that anybody can look not crazy on a resume, right? A resume is very cultivated. It's very what you want me to hear, right? People polish their resumes. Your resume can look great. LinkedIn is a little bit more like spying on you at work. You know, something every hiring manager would love is if I had a hidden camera on you at your previous role and like a reality show, I could watch what your previous role was like. LinkedIn's a lot like that. It tells me a lot more about what you care about, not just what you've chosen to present on a short form resume, but what do you talk to other people about? Do you talk to other people? Do you talk to other people in your industry? What do you showcase as important to you when you have total control over it? What do you do in this more free-form way? What do you think is important enough to talk about, to label yourself as? All of these things and more count. They count for professional effort. They count for what goes above and beyond just what's on a resume. So for everybody that's complained about having to cut their resume down to under 2 pages, and you should, right? It should never be over 2 pages. I don't like them to be over 1. But for everyone that's ever said, oh, I don't know what to cut, there's all these things that are important and they're valuable and contributions I've made, things I've accomplished. You don't have to cut them and throw them in the trash. You cut them, you put them on LinkedIn. You direct people from your resume to LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn should always be on your resume so that people come over. That's why I'm stalking you. It gives me more, it gives me truth, it gives me professional competencies. There's just so much I can see. So since you know that I'm coming there, be ready and roll out the red carpet and let hiring managers and recruiters see what you want them to see.
So the funny thing is when I'm talking to clients about their social media and we go over that same conversation, you know, get the resume down, and I've heard you say it and I have just blatantly outright stolen it from you that your resume is just an expanded business card and it's a sales piece for you. That what happens next is that they're going to go to your LinkedIn. Those stories have to be cohesive. People forget that. They're like, well, I'm pivoting careers and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And you can pivot careers and still be cohesive with your story. So we're going to start with the essentials. Professional personality picture.
No selfies.
No selfies. We don't want to see anybody's arm around your shoulder. We also don't want to see, you know, those pictures you take that don't quite fit the box. So you have like the black box and you have black sides inside the circle. Yeah, none of that. You want a professional headshot. If you don't have a professional headshot, you want something that's personality and clean. It should be a high quality image so that it doesn't look like someone else took it of you. And if you all go to my LinkedIn, you can see a really good example of what not to have on your LinkedIn. My picture is a little bit too dark. I need a better quality picture. And like the Shoemaker's Kids, I haven't gotten around to it yet. Getting there.
Well, also COVID's kind of kept us from all going to photo studios lately. But so in fact, talking about that, not all of you necessarily have a professional photographer on tap. right? And you might lean on something. So some alternatives are, if there are shots of you in kind of a candid way, but in a professional context, that's fine. In the worst case scenario, some iPhones have some great cameras. Get somebody else, not you, no selfies. Selfies never look good in a professional picture. And get someone else, just take a nice, put on a good set of professional clothes, stand in front of a nice brightly lit kind of neutral background, take a picture. It can stand in. But I see so many LinkedIn profile pictures that are basically just close-ups of somebody's nose. Not where you want to be.
And don't forget that banner photo. This is also a place where a lot of people just leave it blank. When a hiring manager goes on, and John, please hop in and say yes or no. Hiring manager goes on and sees that blue LinkedIn background, because remember, the first thing they see is that top piece. So it's your banner photo, your cover, your headshot, and then your headline, and we'll talk about that. They see that great big blue blank space. All that says is, I'm lazy. And here's some LinkedIn information for you, because I'm not using my space.
That photo is so easy to change. Free LinkedIn backgroundphotos.com is like literally a website. It's so easy to find. Don't overthink it. You don't have to, it doesn't really matter what's up there. I see great ones. They're just, a beautiful picture of mountains. A picture of your team is great. A company logo, pictures of your kids. Honestly, you can feel free to use that space creatively. There's no agenda there, as long as it's not nothing. Because when it's nothing, it's just like Shari said, it just shows I'm not willing to put even the most bare minimum of effort in on this. Because it's so easy to change and has such an immediate visual impact when someone lands on your page, no excuse not to do it.
Great spot to expand your story there, right? Use it to get a little bit of personality, because people are no longer hiring just for what's on your resume. We're looking for culture fit. We're looking for people who can expand our mission if we have initiatives. We're looking for people who can go the distance. So they're looking for people who have some personality, and that's a great place to be able to show it in a very easy way. So don't forget that banner photo. Same thing there though, high quality photo. High quality
And
photo.
that's something that, by the way, we had a comment in the chat about, due to COVID, going a little more personal is a good approach. I'm going to say not even just due to COVID. I honestly, going personal, one of the benefits of LinkedIn over a resume doesn't have space to go personal, not the right spot to go personal. On LinkedIn, one of the things you can talk about on LinkedIn, really talk about, is values. You can talk about your personal, professional values, why the work you do is important. If you're in healthcare, your resume is going to say you're in healthcare, but your resume is never going to tell the story of the healthcare professional that changed your life when you were young, that inspired you to go into that profession. It's never going to tell the story of why looking into kids' faces as you teach is so important. Like those things that matter from a value perspective, LinkedIn eats that stuff up. That should go in your About Me section. These are even things, since we're going to talk about headline here, it can be great for headlines.
Right. I was going to say, wow, great segue. It's almost like you knew what we were going to talk about next. Killer headlines. This is as important. Keep in mind, this is the whole top section. These are your essentials. There's a reason why they're called essentials. They have to be seen. It's got to capture the attention. So many people just pop their title on there. We know your title. We see it on the resume. We know your title. We know if you're applying to a certain job. We know what job you're applying for. Title shouldn't be the only thing there. If you feel married that your title has to be there, that's fine. But include something that's going to sort of capture people's attention and explain what you're clearly about.
Slogans.
Give them a reason to keep scrolling, to read the rest of your stuff.
Right. Don't give people a reason to stop reading. And if you summarize too hard in that headline, that's what you do, is you give people a reason not to read. Instead, you want to entice them a little bit. Shari has a great, great headline. I love your headline, Shari. I always love it.
You're going to put yours up.
Well, I think we both have good ones, because we're not just saying career specialist at Amalevita.
And you know what? Would you guys mind? I'll pull it. I'll pull it up right now. I can do it. I'm sharing my screen so I can.
Please go ahead.
I'm going to pull it up so you guys can see.
And I saw a quick comment while you're pulling it up of how long should headlines be. Readable. So don't try to do, I've seen people try to jam 80 words in there. Don't. I was pretty careful about mine to make sure that the helping people do what they love was always visible. It's short enough that it never gets truncated when I appear in lists. And then I also put a call to action in mind. I am telling you what I want you to do when you land on my page. Think of your LinkedIn profile as like a company's webpage. Company web pages have goals. When you land on Apple's webpage, the goal is to get you to buy an Apple product. And they make it easy to do that. Go to Apple at some point and see how easy it is to just buy something as soon as you land. You want to tell people what to do. So right now, boom, connect with me, right? I want people to land. I want people to know I'm open to those connection requests. I want people to know I'm there. Background photo, I picked something for Amlavita. So your headline, and you'll notice my headline does not say that I am a career specialist at Amlavita, does not say I'm director of career services. You'll figure that out as you go. What this does is lands here and says, oh, help people do what they love. How? How do you help people do what they love? How would you help me? And now you scroll.
And I always pull up John's all the time when I'm showing people what a killer headline looks like. Just
also, look at that mug, right? Come on, hey, who wouldn't want to connect with that?
But again, look at that picture. Clear. It's not a stuffy headshot. It's very personality. I happen to know you, so that resonates with me. But if I don't, what I get from this is, warm, not corporate, easy guy.
No tie.
No tie. So guys, this is such a good example. You see, this is crisp and clear. And if you see, you look on a screen, this is what you get. I'll show you mine, but again, don't look at my picture. Pretend my picture is really good. So you see, I have the same thing. I'm telling you what I do. Mine's a little long. I could probably.
I love that. Now what? Starting with that is so good. A question. I mean, putting a question, the headline is so good.
Right. I have something from Alma Levita too. The background doesn't suit me the same way it suits John. This is much more my personality. I have some clients on here who worked with me. You'll see that that's definitely more me. So that's that, and look at the difference. It's up there. You don't want that background. All right, let's go back. So that's why you want it action oriented. Just use keywords. That's the same as we tell you, optimize your resume, optimize your LinkedIn. Everything's working on algorithms. Everything's working on search features. The whole world is one big, gigantic Google. Everything has to be what we call SEO, search engine optimized. You want the right words in the right places, so when someone's looking, they'll find you. Best way to do that if you're job searching is read multiple 4,000 job descriptions so that you've got the language that's being used.
Don't be afraid to steal. Which Shari and I talk about, we steal from each other. Look at other people in your industry.
Absolutely.
Check out good-looking headlines. Don't steal verbatim, word for word. But I mean, you can pluck these words, you can pluck these phrases.
I was saying paraphrasing. I'm assuming everyone in here at some point had to write a paper in high school. Paraphrase. Otherwise, it's plagiarism. We don't do that. That's unethical. But you paraphrase. Pick and choose what's working.
All right.
Okay, then next is that summary, that about section that John was just talking about. Use your space. Probably one of the biggest challenges I see on LinkedIn is that people don't use that space. They write 3 little sentences and leave it blank.
They copy paste their professional summary from their resume.
And that's it.
This is a place to tell your story, a real story. This is especially true. Anybody that's pivoting, anybody that's been out of the job market for a while, anybody that had something unusual happen, and you're like, if people would give me a chance if only they knew the real story. Well, tell them the real story. You've got the opportunity, you've got the platform to do it, and you can do it in a positive way. You can polish it. You don't have to worry about stumbling over your words because it's written, and you can put something in there. And a real question, how do I change the background image? In the upper right-hand corner, there's that edit button, and you can edit everything. If you click on that, yep, there it is.
You know, little Judy, click, and then I can do whatever I want in here.
Yep. And again, if you just do a simple Google search for LinkedIn background photos, there's tons of beautiful generic photos already formatted to the right side, in the right size, high resolution, very easy to do. But yeah, in your summary, I mean, this is where you can tell your story. This is where you can share things. This is where you can share links to external sources too. I mean, some of you have professional portfolios. Some of you have things you've worked on in the past, things you're proud of. Some of you have, I know that some of my former clients had articles written about the work that they contributed to, and maybe they were part of a team, so their name isn't in the article, but they link the article in there about me and say, this article, by the way, is about one of the projects I'm most proud of, and I would love for you to go check it out. So you can write these things.
The reason why those things are important to put in there is ease of use. Remember, this is like online shopping. One of the reasons that Amazon's grown to where it is because it's super easy to add to cart. They don't make it hard. You can add to cart on their website. You can add to cart on your phone. It's right there on the page. You're never looking for, how do I buy this? Same thing with your LinkedIn. Make it easy for the hiring manager to get your information. Once it becomes difficult, they're going to go to someone who's easier to get the information.
Yeah, link to recommendation letters. I saw the chat. Yep, anything. Link to anything that you've gotten. Copy paste up. If you've got a great email from someone, post it in there. Yeah, and by the way, remember this is all recorded too. So if you missed anything, don't worry. The recording's going to be sent to everybody. You'll be able to go back and check out any of these. But yes, to everything. The beauty of LinkedIn is that unlike a resume where there's a real estate concern, right? On a resume, every single line takes up this really limited resource. On a LinkedIn, you have a lot more freeform. You have more space. It's scrolling, so you're not flipping to a new page. You really can put things on there. You can do, you can edit. You can take a couple lines from a referral letter and just highlight that. You can really just put your story down.
Again, key facts for us: stories told cohesively. So the resume is the smallest piece, your LinkedIn is the bigger piece, but if you cut it down the middle, it's still making sense.
Yep.
Continue to show that personality. Again, keywords, good SEO practices. That's the world we live in now. Make sure you're optimizing those words for yourself. Include your contact info. Again, make it easy for them to get to you. And again, like John said, link anything in there. Even if you're writing articles on Medium or even Tumblr, as long as it's professional and it continues to show your value or your engagement, it should go there.
Yep.
We want to maximize that. Okay, your experience section. It should mirror your resume, and it can also expand. So you want to make sure what you have on your resume is included on LinkedIn, but take the opportunity to then flesh that out further. Biggest piece here is strong bullets. You want to talk about the impact and the results. They don't need a task list. Task lists are the surest way to get someone to stop scrolling. We know what you do. We know the job. We need to know, what did you do with that job? What's your value? How does that associate with what value you're going to bring to me?
I had one time, this is such a great example. I was reviewing a resume for a client who worked as an accountant, and they had, for their longest run, they had these 2 bullet points right next to each other. One bullet point was prepared budgets and spreadsheets. Yes, that is what accountants do. And then the other bullet point was something about like through audit process discovered like $8 million in losses that they were able to avert for the next year and save the company $8 million. I'm like, how are you going to put both of these bullets right next to each other? Which one of these should stay and which one should go? So don't talk about the impact you had. One nice thing about LinkedIn too is you can tell some stories. So this is where I know a lot of people have asked, hey, how do I put that I lost this job due to COVID? You know, should I put that? You can tell that story on LinkedIn in a way that's kind of awkward on a resume. But you can put, in addition to the bullet points, you can tell these little stories. You have space to do it on each experience. So you can say something you would never put on a resume, but is great on LinkedIn is, you know, this job was a phenomenal learning experience. I picked up so much about these skills. I was sorry to bid goodbye to my team due to COVID-19, but we've stayed in contact. You know, you can talk a little bit. Don't go crazy overboard, but you can tell stories in a way that you can't on a resume.
And remember, I'm going to say this again. This is social media. This is not a static piece. It's dynamic. You can edit it at any time. So keep that in mind. If the story changes a little bit, go on and tweak your story. It's very easy to do.
If a lot of people are asking the same questions for clarification, you know, if like 3 times in a row somebody says, hey, I have a question for you. What did you do between this job and that job or something? You can go on there and add a section. You know, you can adjust things to the questions you're getting.
And you want to stay on top of that. It shouldn't be a flat piece. It is dynamic and it should move. I don't know if this is in the chat, but I always get this question. When we talk about the impact, some jobs don't have a very quantitative piece. They don't have a number that you could put like an accountant. So use quantitative words: increased, made efficient, reduced, decreased, streamlined. Any kind of word that indicates a result is words that you want to use if you don't have the ability to actually have numbers.
And if you're having trouble thinking of, I sometimes say to people, were you good at your job? Yes. Why were you good at your job? And there's a struggle, like it's hard to quantify. A good brainstorm: was there anybody you worked with who was bad at their job? Oh yeah. Well, why were they bad at their job? And then reverse that and say why you were good. So that can sometimes be a good icebreaker for figuring out how to quantify why you were good is why was somebody else not good.
And guys, go back to the job description that you're looking at time and time again. And a lot of times that tells you, and obviously you have to learn to read between the lines, because there's a lot of things on a job description that aren't exactly what you're going to do, but it does give you some of the basics of the words they're looking for. Always the words. All right, now comes to the meat of what LinkedIn is for. Now that you've set your profile up, connections. People don't always know what these numbers mean, so we're going to quickly go over them to make sure that you do. If you have a little 1, that means you and that person are connected. Yay. A second means you share a mutual connection. So if I go on to John's page and there's a name there and it has a 2 next to it, that means John knows said person, but I don't. It's a good time to connect. 3 means I'm not connected to this person and neither is this other person. So this is also a good time to get connected. But that's how you can tell when you're going to reach out to make connections and network, how you can use your lead-in. A first is a no-brainer. You absolutely use everybody in your number 1 network. Number 2 are mutual connections. There's what you would call, if you're in the sales world, a warm lead. That's where you can reach out and say, hey, we're both friends with John. Did he tell you that dad joke about the cemetery the other day? Yeah, he told it to me too. Listen, really would love to chat with you about. Do you use something that's common to get in touch? If it's a third connection, sometimes you have to reach out cold and say, hey, really like what you said, did, stand for, would love to connect. This is what brings us to why we're going to keep saying that LinkedIn is a social media.
And I want to interject. I want to pause here for a minute because we're about to really change tone. Up to this point, we've talked about what you're going to do on your page, how you're going to set up. All of that is useless if you now don't go find people to come look at it. Right. You can have the best looking page in the world, and very few, I won't say zero because some people will just be searching, but very few people are just going to randomly land on your page. You have to draw people in. You have to go get them. It's like painting the interior of your house. Might be gorgeous, but if you never invite anybody into your house, nobody sees it.
I don't understand.
So we're going to go out and talk about how to get connections. I want you to understand the mechanics of connections, but you have to talk about going out and getting them and how you can do that, and how you can do that in a way that feels natural. I'm not going to target this advice to just extroverts, by the way. This is going to be advice that's targeted no matter where you fall on that extrovert, introvert pattern. These are not necessarily live conversations, and you can do a lot of this without sending a message. And in fact, I'm going to tell you, sending a direct message, low priority, low effectiveness compared to some of the other things. Sending direct messages, it's fine, but it's sort of like calling somebody that you don't know. It's a little weird to get that phone call. It's a little weird. Now, if instead you've worked together for a little bit, you've asked them permission to call, then they expect a phone call, much more productive. So we want to talk about how to engage, here's our segue, how to engage with those connections, and how to put content out there that makes you worth connecting with. All of the reason for putting all that great stuff on your page to show the professionalism is so when you do reach out or you do tag somebody or you do post, and I go check, somebody comments on one of my posts, I go check them out. Somebody likes one of my posts and they're not a first connection, I go check them out. And if somebody likes one of my posts, I'll click on their link. And if I see nothing, I'm like, they're not that active a LinkedIn user, no big deal. If I go and I'm like, wow, this person is really engaged with their community and they talk about things all the time, I send a connection request. I don't even wait for them to send it to me. So all of that stuff is meant to be enticing, but you have to be the one to really build up that network and break this ice. So I want to, Shari, do you mind if I dive in? Can I kind of
Go
cover
ahead.
some
You
of
want to
these?
start explaining how they have to do that? Or you want to just
Yes.
go right here? You want me to pull up
No,
LinkedIn?
stay right here. Right here is good. Start engage. So
Good.
LinkedIn is the weirdest social media you'll ever use in your life. All other social media, people can't stop, people can't shut up, right? All other social media, it's way more talking, not enough listening. If you've ever been on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's nothing but like noise from all directions. LinkedIn's the opposite. There's so many lurkers. And they come on, they do what many of us do. They go to the job boards. They may even log in every day. They read their own feed. They never post anything. I go to their page. There's never a like, a comment, but they don't even like stuff. If you engage, it creates an activity feed. It puts you in people's vision. A company or a leader of a company that posts something on Twitter that gets 100,000 likes, they post that same thing on LinkedIn, it gets 40 likes, 45. So you can go and really engage with these people in a more intimate way. You do not have to, and this is for all the introverts on this call, all the introverts watching there, you do not have to be writing brilliant original essays. Please, you do not have to. You do not have to be coming up with genius new insights. You do not. What you do have to do is be frequent, right? And be consistent. But you can do that with sharing other stuff. Go find the content that you want to engage with. So if you're in, I'm just going to pick an example, you are in healthcare. You care about maybe healthcare technology, you care about it. You can search for healthcare technology in the search function. You can search for healthcare technology professionals. You can find the post that they're making. You can click that share button and you can write one sentence and it can be very rote. It can be, wow, this is really interesting, thought I'd share. That's it. You can write,
Friend right here.
yep,
Did
you
it
can
make
just
it
put
so
on
easy?
there. So if you wanted to engage, let's say somebody was really trying to impress me specifically for whatever reason, or even there, who do you have right there, Shari? Because you're on there, I see
Amy?
anybody, pick it, Amy. So you're trying to impress Amy, right? See how she wrote something and commented? You could throw a like. You see how there's not a lot of comments yet? A very simple comment is, hey, this is very insightful. How'd you come up with this? Or anything like that. Or again, that share button and just adding a line that says, just boosting this to my network, thought it was insightful. That's it. I am not making anybody write essays. Please don't think that's what's necessary. But what happens is, oh, boom, look. See how simple that was? Thanks for doing this, Amy. It's really, really simple. Amy sees that as a notification. Now, having done that, you could do that. Now, obviously, Shari's already connected to Amy. She's her first connection. But you don't have to be. You could be a second, third connection and still see that post if you would search for it. And now, if you do that, and now you send her a connection request, now you're not a nobody, right? You're not just a random person cold calling somebody. You can send a connection request. You don't even have to necessarily put a note because you've been engaging, you're boosting. You can even, if you want to kind of get more complex, if you feel good about it, you can tag somebody else. You could share that post of Amy's and tag Shari and say, hey, Shari, this reminds me of you. Or, I just wanted to share with my network, especially John, and tag someone else. You can put that in there, bring other people together. And all it shows is that you are someone that cares about what's happening in the industry you want to work in. You're trying to enter a new industry, you're trying to pivot. This is a great way to just show anybody that you care about the players in that industry, you care about the movement in that industry. And none of these require you to type more than a half dozen words. So you do not have to, and if you want to, please wax poetic if that's in your nature and you want to do it, by all means. But you're not going to not be able to do this if you're not verbose. If you don't like writing a ton, that is totally okay. Liking short comments, it's totally the same in terms of the engagement level. What is far more important is being consistent and doing it daily. That's what's more important. I would rather have someone just put thanks for sharing 5 times a day than once a month put like a long paragraph, because the daily engagement puts you in other people's feeds. That's what gets people to click on your profile to see more about you. It's an easy click. When you put your name on there, if you want somebody to come to your profile and you never post anything, they have to search for you. They have to search for the right keyword. You have to show up in that search. They have to scroll to you. If you comment, it's one click. They click on your name, they're on your profile. You're making it easy.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if you take nothing away from this seminar except what John just said in this one slide, that's it. I was almost verbatim going to say what he just said. This is the key. And this is where people drop the ball because they feel like it's work.
It is work, but you got to do it.
I'm going to amend it and say, even if you can't do it every day, you have to be a minimum of 3 times a week engaged.
I also say short time. This is
short time.
Even if you did daily, even if you did daily.
Potty break. This is potty break activity.
Yes.
This is your potty break activity.
You're so funny. But it is. This is less than half an hour a day. Yeah. This is, if you replace some other kind of pointless social media time with this, I'll tell you the best way in the world to free up some time to do this is please stop scrolling endlessly through job boards and replace some of that time with this. If you are on a job board scrolling through whether it's LinkedIn job boards, whether it's Indeed, whatever, if you're scrolling through jobs for more than a half hour to an hour a day, kind of mashing that apply now button, or even just scrolling through, please replace some of that activity with this, and you will see tremendously different results.
And then the question always, I guess I'm going to switch these slides the next time we do this. The question is, who do I do that for? So this is where you have to do this part. Figure out who do you want to talk to, work with your current connections, join industry groups. And industry groups don't have to be professional. If you're a runner, join running groups, because that's where you're going to find like-minded people to connect with and engage with. If you like to cook, join people who cook. Definitely, hands down, this is a no-brainer. Use your college alumni groups.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this one's like leaving extra credit points on the table when all you had to do is write your name kind of thing. Definitely get in touch with the people who you went to school with. But don't forget about those personal pieces of your life. While it is a professional business network, it's not Twitter. You're not putting your bikini photos up here. You're still a whole person. And thinking about it, if I like running and I'm connecting with people who like running, well, we have like-minded interests there. What else do we have like-minded? Plus they work, they have jobs.
And that's why I also say it's so silly not to connect with the other people on this call. If you're in the AmLaVida community ALV Connect Slack channel, post your LinkedIn in there, get some connections. I'm going to make that post for everybody, but you absolutely want to do that level of engagement. And can I beseech you, Shari, to once again share your screen on LinkedIn? I just want to show everybody the content search, because this is like some secret sauce on LinkedIn. So if you go up to the search bar, just click on it. You don't have to type anything in, but if you click, there's a way, instead of searching for people, right? Type in cooking. You said cooking earlier, right?
Yeah. Right.
And there's jobs, people, groups, right? So you don't have to look for jobs. You can look for people who do cooking. You do groups. Click on either one. Cooking or people. Do people.
Let's do people. I love people.
I love people. So now, right, I'm going to see, and what can I tell right away? You can tell right away who's a serious LinkedIn user. You can tell right away based on, is their headline really good? Do they have a good picture, right? Some of these pictures are obviously more enticing than others. So let's just click right at the top there. We have Gary.
We'll do Gary. We'll also point out this. Look, see, Gary and I are a 2, because right now you're in my profile. So Gary and I are a 2. Look at these people. I have 6 shared connections with him. I can leverage those connections if I want to talk to Gary as well.
So if we click on Gary, we're going to get some, so scroll down till we get to his activity. So first off, background photo. I mean, this is nice, right? This is nice. So we're going to go down. You see how there's activity, and there is activity, right? So click see all. So Gary posts, right? That's very important. And look, even Gary, he's doing one line for his share, right? Now what we can do here too is not only this is your source of content. If you're trying to be a professional chef, here's a great way to start sharing things. Here's a thing to start doing. But the other thing is, pause right there.
Yeah, sure.
No, go up a little bit. Just pause right there. Right here on this post about the French pastry there. I see, is that 13 likes? My screen's kind of small.
13 likes.
Click on that 13 likes.
Yep.
Guess what? Here's a list of other potential contacts. Because if they like Gary's stuff, they're probably also in your professional space. They're probably also people that care about cooking, the culinary arts, the restaurant industry. So if you look for other leaders and you find who else is liking their stuff, there's a new community to join. So there's an endless number of potential contacts to reach out to by just starting with the big players, following who's following them. You will not run out of people. You will not run out of rabbit holes to go down.
So true.
So for anybody that's saying, where do I look? I have zero connections. You know, I have nobody. And I know that that's where most people are starting, and they're saying, where do I even go? There's where you go. You search based on your interests, your keywords. So that's the top level stuff. If you do those things, don't worry about getting them perfect. Don't worry about, don't worry about sharing the most perfect content. Don't worry about doing that. Just be positive, friendly, you're good. If you do that and nothing else, you're going to get tremendous value out of this. This can be really dramatically changing to your search. But now we've got some Q&A time open here. And Jill, are you available to pull some questions up or not?
Yes, we
Perfect.
have.
And Jill, how are we on time? Because, John and I we're talkers and we don't always then pay attention to the time.
No, I know. No, you guys are actually doing really well. I'm very proud of you guys.
All right.
Very proud, particularly you, Jen. No, I'm just kidding. But really. Okay, good. So we have lots of engagement in the chat, by the way. I love this. Thank you guys all for being so connected. All right, so first question is, can recruiters see all the other jobs you've applied to on LinkedIn?
No.
No.
Go nuts.
You know what?
Right.
Let's show this. This is what we didn't show. The how to make yourself available for recruiters. Let's do that.
Oh, sure.
All right, so you're in my, I'm sorry, Jill, let me just stop and do this. So you're in my, no, you're not. Why am I not, where's my, did they change it? Oh no, they did change it again.
Oh, LinkedIn's always moving stuff around. There's you may have to go into, oh, actually, while you're in there though, can I just tell everybody something? This is like a short trick.
Okay.
Look up at the top of her URL. You see how her URL is just her name and there's no like weird characters, like it's not her name and then a bunch of like numbers and letters. If you look at your own profiles, many of you will just have these random numbers and letters. This little magic button right there, edit public profile URL, you can just change what yours is. You can make it be whatever you want. There's a default setting that includes a bunch of random characters, but you can change it and be whatever you want. So I just figured I'd share that one because boy, does it look much cleaner on your resume to have linkedin.com/in/John Racha than /John Racha AB46923. So it's really worth it to go do that.
I don't understand why. They must have literally just changed it.
Yeah, I think they may have removed.
They removed it, so I can't figure out how to do it.
Are you looking for to let recruiters know you're looking for a job?
Where did they move it to?
I don't, you know what, that's really interesting because I actually had it up a while back when I was still looking for jobs and it was like right there. Like it was a very easy, like a checkbox. So I wonder if because I remember checking it and it was like letting recruiters know that you're open for work. I have no idea where it is, but it was right there on your profile. So I wonder if they.
Okay, friends, now I can't show you. Okay, I was going to show you how to do this, but apparently I'm not. Because from yesterday, they seem to have changed it.
Well, that's all right. Because I think it's better to.
There is a way to go in, and the point is you can choose to only have recruiters see. You could do public or private. So, and recruiters can't see what else you've done there, but it's their way of being able to find you, and they have to meet certain criteria to be considered a recruiter, because a lot of people ask that question, well, who sees that? They have to be a certified LinkedIn recruiter to even be able to get to those parts of your screen.
So no, people can't see what other roles you've applied to. They really can only see what you choose to share. And then that's the same as you would expect in the non-LinkedIn application, like on Indeed. Employers don't see what other things you applied to on Indeed. So don't worry about sending that. I do want to share a quick LinkedIn application connection story that I think is going to be relevant to a lot of people. We recently had a role that we hired for, it was about a month and a half ago at Amlavita. And we only put the job on LinkedIn. We didn't use any other boards. And within about 5 days, we had about 500 applications. So on LinkedIn Job, many of you have seen this, you can see how many other people have applied to that job. The number can be very high sometimes, and that can feel daunting. I don't want you to feel daunted. I want you to do the right things and recognize why that number does not mean what you think it means. Because 500 people applied for that job by clicking that button that says Easy Apply. Out of that 500 people, fewer than 10 did anything else. Reached out to me on LinkedIn, sent a connection request, liked any of my posts, commented on anything on Amlavita's company page. That group of 10, that became what we call in the recruiting industry the shortlist. What the shortlist means is it doesn't guarantee that I'm going to hire someone from the shortlist, but it means I'm not even going to look at the other 490 if I find someone on the shortlist that fills the role. They're going to get reached out to first. They're also going to be the ones that get personalized outreach. All 10 of them, even the ones that we didn't hire, because we only hired one person, obviously, but all of them got conversations. All of them got me as a connection. All of them got direction and advice and referrals and things like that because they put in the effort. They're on the short list. So just keep that in mind that most people don't do that. And so you're not really competing with 500 people. If you do the right things, you're competing with 10. You're on the short list. Be on the short list. Send the connection request, like stuff on there, on the company page, engage. If a company is putting anything on LinkedIn, it doesn't happen automatically. Someone is getting paid. Someone's job is to post that stuff on there, and they love it if you reach out to them. They are monitoring it. They absolutely love it. So you're putting yourself really at an advantage with just a simple like and comment.
Someone had asked earlier, maybe you even said it, John. That's what we call breaking through the clutter, right?
Yes.
That number of 200, people are just clicking away there. You do something that makes you distinctive. That's what makes the difference.
Right. And again, we're not talking high effort here, right? It's shocking to me, given how easy it is, how few people do it. So Jill, what else do we have in the chat here? And I'm sorry that the way my screen is, I can't see the chat, so I'm leaning on Jill to pull up.
It's all good. I got it, guys. All right. So we have a lot. So I think I spoke too soon by saying, John, I was proud of you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
This is important stuff though. So it's all good. And like what we've done before, if we go over, because we want to respect everyone's time, we'll send answers to all of these questions in the follow-up email. So don't worry, we'll get to them. All right. So, okay, how do I change the background image? I know this was a question from before. Is there a link or something that you guys recommend?
If you go, so on your homepage.
Give me a second. Go ahead.
While she's pulling it up, you pull up yours. I'm just gonna tell you, just literally Google free LinkedIn background photos, because there's a couple sites that are just that, free LinkedIn background photos. If you go on your profile, Shari's gonna show you, boom, right there's just a little edit button. It's literally on that picture. And now at the bottom, there's a button that says change photo. That's it. Just walks you through changing the photo.
Sweet.
Yep.
All right.
It's very easy. Very easy.
Very easy. Good. Okay. What if the company you worked for was really discreet? How do you not burn bridges and still include your success?
So you don't have to give, first off, I always want to point out, your successes are yours. All right? They belong to you. You don't have to, and you should never, even if the company's not discreet, you should never reveal like sensitive data, right? Like you don't necessarily want to reveal accounting data. You don't have to reveal things like that. But some things are publicly available anyway. If they're publicly available, they're definitely fair game. But you can talk about, a great way to talk about things in a discreet way is percentages, right? So if you say, in my role, I reduced the time to market for some particular product by 35%. Great. That's an impressive number, but it doesn't actually tell what the time to market is. So you're not revealing anything about the company. You say, I increased sales by 20%. That's impressive without actually telling the world what their sales numbers are. You're just talking about, that's a way to anchor the success around your performance without burning any bridges, sharing anything sensitive, revealing anything like that. So you can just say, at this role, I'm really proud of the fact that I was able to reduce the time of this task by an average of 16 days or something like that for whatever project it is. So that's the way to do that and own the success for yourself.
Great. Thank you. All right. Next question. This was specifically, I think, for the talking about the profile. Do you recommend public over private?
Everything public. Live out loud. Live your life out loud. Let people find you. Nobody. This is a reality. So again, I'm targeting this to everybody, no matter where you are on the extrovert introvert scale. But even for the most introverted among us, nobody in the universe knows anything you don't tell them. Yeah. So at some point, you have to decide what you're going to put out there. What I love about LinkedIn, why it's my favorite social media platform, is I can keep up the professional wall. I don't have to share personal things. No one's getting a glimpse into any aspect of my life I don't want them to. I can still present the polished professional image I want, but I can present it loudly. I can put it out there and get it in front of a lot of people, but I can still kind of control those elements in a way that sometimes doesn't feel like it's the case with Instagram or Facebook or things like that. So keep everything public, keep those things out there, own the things that you're doing. Now, for some people, the one caveat, I know some people are looking for a new role while they are currently working and they don't, and it would be bad if their current employer knew that. It's a sensitive topic. I get that and I'm sensitive to it. Here's my little secret for doing that. You can express a ton of interest and networking without ever saying the words, I'm looking for a job. Or ever saying, I want to leave my company. If I'm interested in a new industry, if I was suddenly interested in computer programming, I can express all of that in a way that's fascinating. I can comment on the people, or like cooking, like we were talking about Gary. I can say, Gary, this is awesome. This is really great for sharing this. Like, I really learned a lot about cooking. This is really cool. Without ever saying, and I want to be a professional chef. But I'm still making the connections. Now, after we've engaged with each other publicly a few times, now I can send him a private message, which won't be weird because we've talked publicly. And I can say, hey, by the way, I'm kind of keeping this on the down low, but I'm actually thinking about a career as a professional chef. Where would you recommend I look in terms of certification or anything like that? We can just start that conversation. So yeah, you can keep things public without ever having to say, I'm looking for a job by just expressing interest.
Well, and that's where that other piece comes in that I wasn't able to share. I'm frustrated with that, about the letting recruiters know. That can stay private too. You can keep your I'm looking for a job and only let recruiters know. That doesn't come on your public page. So everything else stays public and that stays only for recruiters. And you can keep that up. And oftentimes if a company should find out you're looking for a job, a good answer is always, I'm always looking.
Right. I'm always open.
I'm always looking. I don't know where my next opportunity is. I'm always looking. Sometimes it also works in your favor. They might want to give you a raise because they don't want you to go. But keeping that's the one place that I think sometimes keeping it private is okay. But all of your stuff is public. But if you're looking, sometimes you keep that on recruiters only.
Right.
In terms of, I saw a question. I'm sorry, John. I want to, just because I know we're coming up on time, I just want to say this before we do more questions. On this page that we've had floating here, for people that are asking, how can I get more help? We offer this again. Yes, we do free webinars all the time. You're welcome to all of them. For anybody that wants more personalized help, more personalized stuff, walking you through all these engagements, somebody to be there in your corner for this and any other career sessions, that link right there books to a free primer with our relationship strategists. What we have are relationship strategists who know all of the coaches, because Shari and I and Jill are only 3 of the amazing stable of coaches we have. And your needs might be different than any of the 3 of us. We have a wide variety. Our relationship strategists are matchmakers. They are trained across all of our functions. They really give you a chance to be heard, to talk about your particular goals, your particular agenda, and then play matchmaker with the right coach, and then get you onto a call with a coach. If you want to book one of those primers just to have an early conversation, it's totally free. And if you follow this link and book one of these calls, if you do become a member with us and you want that personalized coaching, your first session is on us. First session totally free. So by all means, for anybody that wants to go deeper, that really wants that accountability buddy that isn't already part of the team, by all means, please take that. And that is the end of my spiel. I promise I'm not going to soak up a ton of time on commercialing, but I always got to do my QVC infomercial spiel. But What else do we got
And
here?
there's our contact information.
All right.
So if you want to reach out to us, there's our contact information too.
Mine is
Yes,
the one that
and
says John.
we'll include all of this. We'll include all of this on the follow-up email as well. All right, so Carrie has a question. Carrie, take it away.
Okay, thank you. I have one thing to share with the group, and I do have a question for Sherry and for Johnny. Sherry, if you want to put up my LinkedIn profile, you can go ahead. So Sherry and I worked a little bit on my LinkedIn profile. It is by no means perfect. No one's ever is. One of the things I'm working on right now with my 900 plus contacts, because I am unemployed, is every day I'm going through them. I'm looking at who these contacts are as a memory refresher, number one. And number two, if I haven't met them and I've just connected with them professionally and we live locally, asking them to meet for coffee and conversation to talk about our industry. Sometimes I believe, and this goes into my question, that the more engagements that you have on LinkedIn, if I'm just looking at somebody's profile, then they're going to hopefully look back at mine and say, who is Carrie Reitman? When did I meet her? When did we work together? Or, oh my gosh, I used to work with her. I loved her. I haven't thought about her in a while. I'm sorry to hear that she's looking for a job. My question is, when you post something, is it accurate to say that the more people who like it and who engage with it, or comment on it, then that makes your posts become viral and get looked at by people who are outside of your network? Because that's a belief that I made up in my own mind that I hope is true and that you guys can confirm for me.
It's 100% true. The early engagement boost is a big deal. If you get a few likes rapidly, it then boosts and boosts and boosts, and you start getting a lot of people. Unlike Facebook or other things, LinkedIn does not limit you to only your circle of first connections.
Right.
People outside of it can see it as well. If someone, like if I were to like your post, everybody in my network sees my like of your post as activity.
Right.
So
Right.
this is where
And that
tagging is
benefits
great.
me.
That
Right.
benefits you. That's the algorithm.
Right. So it's great to tag people, right? It's great to tag people like, hey, I just wanted to post, like you could post today after this, and this is totally self-serving, but you can do it if you want. You could post today and say, hey, I just got done a great webinar with the witty and charming John Racha. It was so fun. He tells the best jokes, whatever. And you could tag me. Tagging me invites my people to see that post as well. If I see a tag, of course I'm going to like it. What kind of selfish monster would I be to not like something where someone pays me such fine compliments? And then people see that as well. That's an early boost. So this is where tagging is great.
And if you're
It's
smart,
where,
John, you'll also share it.
right, and send people. I mean, if you want to send
And
people
tag
those
her
messages,
back.
and so it is absolutely worthwhile to do those kind of engagement pieces.
And the key is early engagement. And what happens is the more you engage, the more early engagement you get, because people are looking for your stuff and they recognize it.
Right.
And by the way, LinkedIn is a business hours platform. If you post something at 2 a.m., it will not get the engagement as if you post. The sweet spot is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from like 11 a.m. to like 1 to 2 p.m. The lunch corridor, right? That's the sweet spot for posting. Early morning is fine too. If you do it like before work, there's always that kind of morning rush. But this is not a platform where if you post every day at 3 a.m., you're going to get a ton of engagement.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
All right, guys, so we are over. We do have a few questions left that were not answered. So what we'll do is I will send these over to John and Sherry to take a look, and then they will give their input, and we'll make sure that everyone's got answered.
Okay, you know what
Absolutely.
I'm going to say, if there, I saw I have a couple of clients on here that are coaching with me currently. If they were your questions, make sure you email them to me so we can cover them in our next session.
Yes.
Or for
Oh, yes. For anybody that is actually working with us already, make sure we know.
Awesome. Please don't forget to hook up, Jill, you'll put in the follow-up our LinkedIn's, because I have no access to the chat while I'm sharing.
If you want to post it right now, Jill, I just sent you the link. I mean, you can put it in the email, but also put it in the chat right now. I just sent you the link to an engagement post I just posted on LinkedIn, inviting everybody here to come in and connect with each other. So just like kind of a centralized space where everybody can come, talk to each other, get some boosting so that you guys can all connect with each other. That should be an easy, 20, 30 connections everyone should be able to get right now just from this group.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining, and thank you, John and Sherry, for another fantastic webinar on this. I know this is always a hot topic. So thank you everyone so much. And please, if any other questions come up for you after you let all of this information settle, you have mine, John, and Sherry's email on that follow-up and the one that I sent earlier. So please feel free to reach out. Those are humans behind those emails. So we'll actually respond to you, we promise.
And book that conversation. If you've never worked with us before, it's a treat.
Absolutely.
It sure is.
100%.
And it's a free consultation. So why not take advantage of it, right?
That's right.
Well, and also, are we offering? We are, right? First session
Yeah,
free?
first session free. First
We
session
sure
on us.
are.
We
Yes.
take it right out of Shari's paycheck. So everybody just come on in.
Yay, do that.
All right, everybody.
All right, everyone. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.